Hey Froggy friends, Kirostyle here, welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, Episode 8, Twilight of the Golden Witch. Thank you so much for joining here on stream. Hey everyone, hey, oh thank you so much. Thank you for the frogs. Thanks CB. Hey, welcome RS Roar, thank you so much for following me and being a Froggy friend, welcome. Kieran, congratulations on being first, welcome. CB, good to see you. Hikaru, thank you so much for coming by the stream. Psycho Reaper, good to see you. Alright. So last time, we did the Halloween party section of this game where Ange got to go around and solve a bunch of riddles, and we helped her out too. Kind of the first interactive part of this game thus far in this visual novel, and it was pretty fun. It was very emotional. Everyone was having fun with Ange, and then after she would leave each riddle giver, it would be like a short little section where they talk seriously about her future, because we know what's going to happen to her. And so everyone was kind of like parting ways with her and saying their goodbyes and wishing her well, which was very, very heartfelt. It felt like a very good little happy send-off, right, to the series. But we know that there's more left to come. And today we're actually going to be spending most of the stream going over a new riddle that will be a little bit more complicated and will take a lot more time for us to solve. So it'll be fun. Alright, let's get going. After putting Ange to sleep in the parlor, Genji and the others returned. Thanks. Was she sleeping well? Yes. She is sleeping peacefully. The noise from here won't reach the parlor, right? That's right. The door's closed, so I don't think it will reach. Ange. Sweet dreams. Well then, that's enough solemn farewells. Let us begin the magnificent festivities we have planned for the after party. When Bito clapped her hands loudly above her head, a white flash filled the hall and its entire appearance changed in an instant. The hall had transformed into a golden party chamber, with gold butterflies flitting about and gold leaf dancing everywhere. Yes, the true party shall now begin. You said it. Okay, the anti-magic toxin is totally gone. Everyone, come on in. The party after the show is about to start. With a burst of applause and cheering, a tornado of gold butterflies rose up in the center of the room. By the time it passed, the number of faces had grown significantly. Let the witch of the future find happiness. And let us of the past be rewarded for our efforts, yes? Indeed. Let us enjoy ourselves as well. Come on, haven't we been enjoying ourselves the whole time? In this world, the one who enjoys the most is the true winner. Come, let's have the Seven Sisters over here too. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory right here. I can't believe the game's finally over. What do you think you're doing crying at the after party? You little crybaby. Lord Battler, Beatrice-sama, thank you for the invitation. I want to see 6-year-old Ange-sama's sleeping face and have it all to myself. I want to see the food and have it all to myself. Then I want a hot guy to have all to myself. Why are you clinging to Battler when you say that? Stop, thief! Glad to see you, Seven Sisters of Purgatory. Enjoy yourselves. Ah yes, things do get much noisier the moment they enter a room. And what's so terrible about that? In fact, it still isn't nearly noisy enough. Another gold cyclone rose up. In its wake, 3 people with bunny ears came into view. Jester Sisters Imperial Guards right here. It's such an honor to be summoned to a gathering such as this. I haven't had nearly enough fun for it to end, yeah? Hey, Ditsuno, welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming by. There, I agree with you. But fear not, for our game shall continue much longer than this. For eternity, inside the cat box. Glad to have you here, Chester Sisters. Lord Battler, allow me to express our deep gratitude for your invitation. In the future, we will endeavor to show even more. Come on, don't be so stiff and formal. Tonight, we're all equal. That's right, yeah? Battler gets it, yeah? Stop it, 410! I'm getting carried away, we'll get in trouble. Hey there, Rish. Long time no see. Wow, how long it's been since we've had so many of us here. Not since Natsui's trial, right? And you could hardly call that a party. If you're talking about a party, you better not try and leave us out of it. Dang, just how many of them are there? If they keep coming like this, there'll be more of them than us humans. You can come out now, Sakataro. Ew. Lord Battler, it was an honor to receive your invitation. Let it be known that it is an honor. Hey, glad you came. It's been a long time, how have you been? Very well, thank you. Fighting with you all is always extremely fun. I have had enough of stamping documents. Commander Delanor, know that your to-do box is piling up as we speak. Please make haste the approval of our vacation papers. They are exceedingly important. Sounds like living in the Great Court is as boring as ever. Lord Battler, I fear I must bring you some sad news. What is it? Delanor held out an envelope. It was one of the invitation cards that Battler had handed out for the night's party. The name on the card was Fruto Erica. We did all we could. The invitation was filled with stamps bearing the unreadable words of various foreign countries. Even without reading them, it was easy to guess it had been returned to sender, destination unknown. I see. Thanks for trying so hard. The depths of oblivion are like an empty, endless desert, or perhaps the bottom of the sea. No one besides Lady Bernkastel herself could find her location. I did send invitations to those witches too. We'll have to hope they have the kindness to bring her along. Lady Bernkastel is just like a cat. She'll show up whenever she feels like it. When she isn't in the mood, she'll never come no matter how often you call her. Yeah, that kid's totally like a cat. She'll come to get her food, but she won't let you pet her head. Lambda Delta, so you came. Believe it or not, I'm a busy person, okay? Still, I am Beetle's guardian. Wasn't I your guardian too? Well, anyway, I came because it's my responsibility. I happened to be in the neighborhood, so I stopped by. Hey, you, Yoda. I brought some presents. Could you just put these wherever for me? For someone who just dropped by because she was in the neighborhood, she brought an awful lot of presents, which included colorfully wrapped bottles and food boxes. Bernkastel isn't here yet. You really think she'll come? She's not the kind of kid who just dropped by to say hi to games she's lost. Probably. After all, she is very proud. I seem to remember her putting us through hell. She's still one of the players in this game. I thought it'd be good to have her over to celebrate the final night of the final game. You're right. Without that kid, this game might not have reached its conclusion. Enemies and allies are the bare minimum you need for a game. True. Without a foe, there could be no game. At least I can enjoy defeat just as another part of the game. That kid can't. It's too bad, but she's been through a lot. so please don't blame her too harshly. Actually, I was planning to thank her. A lot of crazy stuff happened, but thanks to her we were able to make it to where we are today. Thanks. I don't know when I'll see her next, but if I'm lucky I'll get my chance in a few hundred years. I'll let her know what you said. Ah, that's right. They don't have invitations, but I brought 2 guests with me. Guests? Who? I'm pretty sure I sent invitations to all the usual suspects. Come on over, you two. I'll introduce you. When Lambda snapped her fingers, the empty air exploded and 2 forms appeared. If it isn't Willard. Hey, I see you're as short as ever. Now here are some unfamiliar guests. Who are they? Ow, ow, don't pinch my ass. Shouldn't we be introducing ourselves first? I'm fairly certain that Balurka and the others in this world don't know about us. You have the mark of the one-winged eagle on your clothes. Are you an Ushiyamiya? Hey, Sai! Welcome to the stream! Thanks for coming by. Yeah, it's Will and Leon. They survived! My name is Ushimiya Leon. In my world, we're cousins. I'll introduce Leon. This is the successor to the Ushimiya family headship, born only in a world of extremely low probability. In that world, Jessica isn't an only child. She's Leon's little sister. Now there's a surprise. So there's a world like that. Wait, you couldn't be. Pleased to meet you, Beatrice. I know quite a lot about you. Seeing you smiling happily is the greatest joy I can imagine. I'm glad as anyone else that you've made it to this point. I see. So it's you. I'm glad you're here. Ito realized who and what Leon was. The two of them stare at each other's faces as though looking at their own face in a mirror. Willard's the name. I'm just a passing stranger who got caught up in a game you know nothing about. He is an inquisitor of heresy from the Great Court like myself. A truly skilled one, though he is now retired. I see. If you're Delnor's friend, you can't be anyone bad. Please make yourself at home. Just where did these two come from? Bern brought them in and made them pieces. When she was done with them and about to crush them, I picked them up. Awa said leaving them there would leave a bad aftertaste. Is that okay? If by chance Lady Bernkastel does drop by here. On this game board, they're my pieces, okay? And I can't wait to see the look on that kid's face when she bumps into them in a place like this. I don't really get it, but you obviously brought them here for some shady reason. That's all for my gifts. I'll just hang around for the rest. I'm leaving the rest to you, the host. I'm doing really well today, thanks guys. Having a nice, relaxing day. Excited to read more Umineko. Come, Lord Battler. If you don't announce it, we can't start. The start of tonight's party at the end of this long, long game. Ladies and gentlemen, your silence, please. Our territory lord, Lord Battler, has a message he wishes to convey to you all. Enough of that. It's embarrassing. Oh, come on, it's a wife's responsibility. I'm not letting anyone else take it. Ito sulked and handed Battler a glass of champagne. Come to think of it, everyone had a glass in their hands now. Maria, you're a kid, so drink some sparkling cider instead. I want champagne too. Here, hey, Maria-chan, why don't we drink some sparkling cider together? Battler, our drinks are getting warm. Agreed. Begin, Battler. No objections, I see. This way, please, Lord Battler. Runoff motioned towards the center of the room. When Battler stepped forward, everyone silently awaited his words. Glad you could all make it. This marks the end of my long game with Vito. I've invited everyone who's been a part of this game as a piece, a player, or a game master. I hope you'll enjoy this unending night to the fullest. Cheers. Cheers! Everyone raised their glasses to the heavens as they cheered, and afterward the soft sound of glasses clinking together rang out across the room. Only I was apart from all that fun noise. Maybe that was what did it. Before I realized it, my cheeks were wet with tears. I was lying on the sofa, covered by a blanket. I could just barely remember getting sleepy and falling asleep in a chair. Someone probably carried me here. I can't actually hear them, but I get the feeling that everyone's still in the hall having a good time. I want to go there too. No. I will go. Over there. It's what I've wanted all along. But I never took the first step. I'll go to where everyone is. My head still feels hazy, so there aren't any complicated thoughts in my mind. But that's okay. It's okay if my head's empty. I'll be together with everyone. I'll go to where they are. That's all that matters. I got up from the sofa and put on my shoes. Let's go. To where everyone is. The parlor door was shut. I tried to open it, but maybe because of my clumsiness, I couldn't get it open. It was a bit creepy, as though the bad dream I just had was still going on. It won't open. But why? It isn't even locked. My mood grew darker and darker. The knob that locks or unlocks the door is on this side. If I twist it, I should be able to lock or unlock it. I turned it. The door won't open. Did I accidentally lock it just now? I turned it. The door won't open. It didn't open the last time, so it should have opened this time. I don't have a clue how I'm supposed to turn it to unlock the door. I kept on alternating between turning the lock and roughly twisting the doorknob. I began to get irritated, wondering why they locked me away behind such an inconvenient door. Eventually I ran out of patience and pounded hard on the door. But that noise didn't bring anyone to me. Why am I locked up in a place like this all alone? Everyone else is having a fun party, right there in the hall. Let me out of here! At that moment, a cold wind blew past me. The wind rippled through my hair. Wind? Inside? I turned around to find the window curtain waving about. There was a sound like scraping or crying. At some point, the double window it opened outwards towards the darkness. The icy wind that came through it told me that this window was the only exit from this room. Huh? I suddenly realized the darkness beyond the open window was glaring at me, and my heart leapt. A cute sound rang out. I finally understood. That sound was a cat's bell. The glaring emerald eyes in the darkness were those of a cat standing in the open window. Its pitch black, luxuriant fur left only the eyes visible, blending in with the darkness easily. Did the Ushimiya family own a cat? It has a bell on it, so it can't be a stray. It's a cat someone owns. At any rate, the cat was standing by the window and staring straight at me. Who are you? Of course, the cat didn't answer my question. I didn't think it was a cute cat, but I thought it might be trying to tell me something. So I approached it slowly. As I did, the cat did an about-face, turning its back to me. Then, it turned its head to look at me, almost as though it was telling me to follow it. And it leapt down into the darkness, leaving the jingle of its bell behind. When I peeked out the window, I saw the cat waiting for me under the pounding rain. I finally realized. This window was the only exit out of this closed-room parlor. The cat must have come to tell me that. The longer I keep standing around here, the longer the cat will have to wait in the rain. That's no good. He'll catch a cold. I climbed up onto the windowsill and went out to the window. The wind was strong, and the rain was cold, but I didn't get as wet as I thought I would. I might have been in the mansion's shadow. When the cat saw I was outside, it walked along the wall of the mansion as if guiding me. It quickly disappeared into the blackness, but every now and then it would turn around and set the bell jingling to let me know it was there. Eventually a window with light seeping out came into view. It was the window to the hall. When I peeked inside, I saw everyone having a good time. I couldn't hear their voices, but they were all there. Open up! Open up! I pounded on the window, but no one heard. Maybe the window was really thick, or maybe it was just noisy inside. Or it might have been so dark outside I blended in with the darkness. In any event, no matter how much I hit the window, it didn't look as though anyone noticed. At this point, my loneliness was giving way to anger. Why don't you notice me? Why did you lock me up in that room all alone? I've had enough. I'll get inside somehow and yell at everyone. When the cat realized I'd given up on knocking on the window, it led me onwards with another jingle. But just where is this cat going? I know it's following the wall of the mansion, but that's not the way to the front door. The front door might be locked. I'm sure the cat knows a way into the mansion, and is leading me there. Away from the light seeping from the hall, and towards the blackness lit only dimly by the lights in the garden, the cat and I continued to walk. Then, I found it. An open window. The cat stood below it and looked between me and the window as though telling me to go inside. Thanks, kitty. I'd like to give you some milk to thank you. Won't you come with me? When I walked closer to pick the cat up, it slipped away from my hands and flew to the bushes in a nearby flower bed. Then, as though it really melted away into the darkness inside the bush, all traces of it vanished. No matter how much I strained my ears, I couldn't hear the sound of that bell. Suddenly the wind changed directions and the rain started to hit me fiercely. I can't stay in a place like this forever. I'll go inside. What room is this, I wonder? I climbed up onto the windowsill and entered the room. Then the window silently shut and locked itself. Good. That saves me the trouble of doing it myself. The room was completely dark. However, as my eyes got used to the darkness, I was able to make out a few things. It was a large room. There was a long table and many chairs. It was the dining hall. Perhaps because I realized this and relaxed, it quickly became hard for me to make out the details. I searched blindly along the wall for a light switch. Then finally, I felt a familiar shape. Wouldn't it be annoying if I pushed this and the light didn't come on? In fact, it was nearly the opposite, and an annoyingly bright light filled the dining hall and made my eyes hurt. I slowly opened my tightly shut eyes. And then, I saw the state the room was in. The dining hall was covered with blood. Here and there were humans lying on the floor. Then I realized that two of the people were my own parents. Hey, are you having a great time, people? If anyone's not having a good time, we're gonna eat you. Yell and sing the praises of tonight's banquet. The hall was alive with a mingling of humans and the magical illusions who lived on this island. At first, everyone stayed with their own groups, too nervous to mingle. However, as time passed, people started to move around, and both halves began to chat happily together. But they just never listen, do they? Leadership's important. You need to lead by example if you want anyone to follow you. Maybe some subordinates are like that. I've never had any success with ordinary methods. Anyway, you're done for if your subordinates don't take you seriously. It's important to scold people loudly, even for small mistakes, every once in a while in front of everyone else. You can't do that, it'll just make everyone scared. A leader has to be an example for everyone to follow. If you really want to be a leader... Everyone listened intently to the Vegeta Lion's theory on leadership. This was after several rounds of drinks had gone by and everyone was unnaturally focused on the conversation. Kyrie, why do you get stronger the more jealous you are? Don't make it sound so bad. If I want something, I won't let it slip away. I always put that theory to practice. There's nothing more to it. Thanks for waiting, everyone. Even more food is on the way. Butting in on the family party like this. And yet, while I hate to admit it, every movement of his is flawless. Just what sort of hotel did he train at? Too bad, Ronoff-sama just happens to be totally perfect. But I still love Goda more. This one's been cooked just right. The seven sisters had blended into the party perfectly, and they were making things interesting. And yet, many great mysteries are called masterpieces despite being shut down by Van Dyne's 20 rules. It's not like I'm trying to shut down anything. Mystery novels exist for the sake of your own amusement. If you have fun, that's all that matters. Know that even the great wizard hunting rite has gone quite soft. Whether it's literature or forms of amusement, generally accepted rules change with the times. It must be the same with mystery novels, yes. Everyone chimed in on Will's theory of mystery novels. There was no shortage of things to talk about. Yes, that is a fitting attitude for a beginner. However, at that rate, you'll never become a key player in your organization. But know that the regulations are always to be enforced. That's something for newbies to do. Don't forget that regulations and rules are pretty much guidelines for the new guys who don't know any better. You said it. You can't really call yourself an adult until you learn how to move outside the rules. You're still a kid if you let the rules hold you back. I can't stand letting other people do the work. I'm Mammon of Greed. I'll do all the jobs myself. That's some spirit you got there. How much are they paying you for being a sister of Purgatory? Come get a job at my husband's business instead. I'll recommend you personally. The humans and the illusions were now very much on casual terms. I see. So this is how it's done in the world of wishes. Yeah, you got it, yeah? Where we come from, you pour the tea into the saucer, press your palms on the table, and slurp it up like a dog, yeah? And what the hell are you teaching her? Who does that? And Natsui, what do you think you're doing getting tricked like that, and at your age? Get away from her, Satan. How can you be so rude to Natsui-san? Huh? Why are you crying, Satan? Was I too harsh on you? Chester 410-san, please stop giving my pure and trusting mother such crazy ideas. Don't worry, it won't leave a mark. 410 started yelling about animal abuse and jumping around in circles and holding her butt. I wonder if there's a prince out there for me. I want to have some hot, passionate love. If I fell in love, could I become a beautiful princess too? Of course. Love is a miracle, a power, a mineral. It grants you invincible strength. Is that the person who once claimed that love equals lust, I hear? Indeed. It would seem she's getting her fill every night. Shut up, you perverts. The circle surrounding Bito was always a lively one. Yeah, I know how you feel. It's only when we're given orders we find meaning in our lives. I get nervous when I don't have any orders. Someone order me to do something or I'll die. You can't have that attitude. You gotta find your own meaning for your life. Cut your own path. That's right. Your resolve has to be certain and absolute, okay? Back when I was a human, I lived like a daredevil all the time. A bit shakily, Lambda Delta started talking about her theory of life. Apparently, she'd also have her fair share of champagne. What a bizarre scene. Yeah, I guess so. Delano-sama, would you like some more to drink? Something non-alcoholic. After all, I am a kid. Shannon-chan will do. Do you have a second? Badler came back into the hall. He was searching for his servant, and the first one his eyes met was Shannon. Of course, Badler-sama. Do you need something? Sorry, but would you mind lending me the key to the parlor? The parlor? I can get you in with a master key, but why? Well, I was just wondering if Ange was asleep, so I went over there. The door was locked. I really like this scene, because it really feels like a cast party, right? They're all just mingling, having fun with each other. Even though they've all, like, murdered each other at various points in the game, they're all, like, just chilling, having a good time. I really like it. But again, it's really jarring from what we've been accustomed to. Locked? After we carried Ange-sama to the sofa, we shut the door, but we didn't lock it. Don't tell me that Ange... She must have felt like she was being left out of the fun and locked the door from the inside in a huff. Silly kid. Also, we didn't see Kumasawa chatting it up with anyone. I would have liked to see her talk about mackerel with someone. Shall we unlock it then? Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry about the trouble. Badler and Shannon left the hall together. In the hall, Lambda Delta started suggesting they all have another quiz tournament together. Apparently, the Witch of Certainty would be handing out prizes. Everyone seemed enthusiastic about the idea. Smiling contentedly at the ensuing uproar, Badler headed towards the parlor. It really is locked. Shall I open it? She was sleeping, so I didn't knock on the door, but if she locked it, that proves she woke up. Let's try knocking once. Badler knocked on the door and called Ange's name. However, there was no response on the other side. He pressed his ear against the door, listening carefully, but there was no hint of Ange unhappily throwing a cushion at it. She might have fallen asleep again after having her little tantrum. Could you open it for me? As you wish. Shannon took out her master key and unlocked the door. And then she stepped back to let Badler go through. Ange, I'm coming in. Speaking a quiet voice to avoid waking Ange if she was asleep, Badler opened the door. Then, just as the door was opened, a chilly breeze drifted by. The breeze, which felt like outside air, immediately caught the attention of the pair, and they looked at each other. It could be seen at a glance that Ange wasn't in the parlor. The curtains on the wide-open window fluttered about. Ange? Ange? The blanket lay crumpled up on the sofa. It sat there just as Ange had left it after waking up. The blanket was slightly warm. Clearly she had been here until a short while ago. Ange-sama, are you there? She obviously wasn't playing hide-and-seek. Ange was nowhere to be seen in the parlor. Badler peered out the open window into the rainy blackness. So, she slipped out the window in this rain and went... where? Do you think Ange-sama might have gone out the window? That'd make her one hell of a sleepwalker. She couldn't have left from the main entrance, so she probably doesn't have an umbrella. It was very hard to imagine a reason Ange might have for going outside in this weather. I have a bad feeling about this. This shouldn't be happening. I'm the game master of this game board. So why are we in a situation that the game master can't understand? A large bolt of lightning lit up the surrounding area for an instant, but I was unable to see any trace of Ange. Okay, now it's my turn to think of a question. Okay, so you have a third of a cake, and a quarter of a cake, and a fifth of a cake, all on a plate. It takes 30 minutes to eat one whole cake, so how much is left on the plate when you're finished eating? that moment, there was a roar of thunder and the lights flickered. The cheery voices vanished in an instant, like candles being blown out. None. That's a riddle you were tricked with once, isn't it? Amidst the silence, one voice rang out and answered Lambda's riddle. The crowd parted in the form of a girl. A 1,000-year-old witch came into view. She had been invited. She was an official guest, holding an invitation to this party. Sorry I'm late. I was busy planning some festivities to liven up the party. As Bernkastel spoke, she looked around at everyone. Oh, and I thought you two were rotting away in the fragment sea. They're my pieces now. Pretty cool, right? Huh. She stared at Leon and Will with an unnerving smile on her face, but she seemed to lose interest. Where's Battler? And Bito? I'm a guest, aren't I? Isn't there anyone to welcome me in? I'm here. We did invite you, but I didn't expect you to actually come. I see. This must truly be a miracle. Now that's an interesting way to put it. Why'd everyone get so quiet? This is a party, right? Go ahead and be noisy just for the hell of it. Or is you welcoming me with silence part of some kind of joke? Now it's your turn. My turn for what? You asked where Battler was, so I told you I was here. Now it's your turn. What are you talking about? Did something happen? Ange is gone. Even I, the Game Master, don't know where she went. That's insane! Isn't this your game? That doesn't make sense. If Ange disappearing isn't a scenario created by Battler, that means there must be another Game Master. Is that even possible? Oh, yes. I was surprised myself. Just when I opened the game board to start a delightful game of my own, I found that Battler had started up this bizarre game at the same time. I never thought I'd be in a game with two Game Masters. In other words, you're admitting you hid Ange away somewhere. It would seem so. After all, no one could introduce a scenario you didn't build, except another Game Master. So is this one of those festivities to liven up the party you mentioned? You all look like you were having a blast with that quiz tournament, so I decided I wanted to join in. And then you chose to hold Anne hostage for that purpose. You've got it. Battler, Bito, I want to challenge you to a game. You cannot refuse. Not if you treasure Ange as a little sister, that is. What do you want? Lambda and I made a bet about the game between you and Bito. I must acknowledge that I've lost. At least, that I've lost to Lambda. Bern tries to act all dry, but she's way more persistent than she looks. So you're saying you lost to me, but not to Battler and Bito? It seemed as though Bernkastel might smile. However, she didn't. Those cold eyes spoke without words. Battler understood. He'd played so many games against Bito. Those games had been a wordless message from Bito. So he knew. He understood. She wants to fight us. Is that it? She'll be a fearsome opponent. But we can't back out. I know that. We mustn't let Ange become Lady Bernkastel's plaything. Bito understood as well. She understood why Bernkastel was asking for one final battle. I never thought I'd see Bern fighting openly like this. Do you find that funny? Why would I? Thanks. Lambda Delta understood as well. Before the tale of Battler and Bito ended, before everything was locked away in the cat box, Bernkastel would finally move from the audience to the stage. That witch who had hidden off to the side of the stage, unwilling to come out to the light, would now show that she had the courage to step forward onto the stage itself. As a friend, Lambda Delta showed that she understood Bernkastel's human emotions, which had given her this courage. Is there anything I can do? Please act as an observer for my game. Sure. If you promise you'll release Ange if we take part in your game, that is. Of course. Without such a promise, we aren't obligated to go along with this farce in any way. You may not owe me anything, but you'll never see Ange again. In that case, you can enjoy being branded as a loser for the next few centuries. Bito, don't provoke her. This isn't a fight we can back down from. Indeed. Now that a hostage had been taken, their ability to negotiate had disappeared. However, Lambda Delta was agreeing to become an observer if that would make Bernkastel promise to release Ange. Unless she held Bernkastel to a promise like that, the latter would have nothing to lose. To make this final fight, Bernkastel wanted a proper one. Lambda Delta made her agree to this. Of course, Lambda. I promise. When the game ends, I'll release Ange. Don't make a fool of me, okay? When I get shamed, I never let go of the one who did it until they regret it. Lambda Delta spoke in a soft, threatening tone. However, Bernkastel laughed lightly as though the look on Lambda Delta's face was merely cute. I swear it. I swear it on our friendship. Whew. Lambda Delta whistled and grinned. Apparently, this was the most reliable oath Bernkastel could utter. Okay. Lambda Delta nodded, looked between Battler and Bernkastel, and spoke. By the name of Lambda Delta, Witch of Certainty, I accept the role of observer for your fight. Battler, Bito, you have no objections, right? Battler and Bito nodded at each other, then nodded at Lambda Delta to show their determination. I'm so glad. We finally get to fight each other. I had a feeling I'd end up fighting you sooner or later. Since when? I'm not sure. It might have been before I even learned your name. Adler vaguely remembered her speaking to him, somewhere in an unconscious world he couldn't recall. At the time, it sounded like she was giving him advice for his fight with Bito. But thinking back on it, there was a bit more to it than that. She might have been a cat fighting from the sidelines, too scared to go out into the bright sunlight. So I had a vague premonition that eventually we would stand opposed to each other on the game board in some way. She was also one of the players. Now at the very end, as the game board is being put away, she's finally found the courage to step up onto the stage. I'd like to accept your brave challenge, in the name of that courageous girl who was once your piece. I forced Erika to fight a duel. I wanted to win. And even more strongly, I didn't want to lose. The fear of possibly tasting defeat tormented me. And thinking back on it, I envied you two back then. Erika was a great piece of yours, and my rival. I won't forgive you for abandoning her in the end and burying her in the depths of oblivion. Just what do you want me to do? Apologize to Erika? Save Erika from the depths of oblivion, and invite her to this party. Save Erika? I feel the same as Battler. She was a piece who stood in opposition to us, but she was only faithfully fulfilling her role. There could be no game without a rival. She remains our enemy, but she's also an important friend to us. Even though she made you suffer so much. We fought a fair game, or fair fight. The outcome may have changed our fates, but now that we've dueled each other, we'll always be friends. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Battler, but, you know, I know you want to be the magnanimous protagonist that loves everyone, so okay. You want to be their friend too, don't you, Bern? That's why you want a fair fight with them now, isn't it? Are you laughing at me? We aren't. On the contrary, we welcome it. Even though I've taken a hostage. If you didn't, you probably wouldn't have been able to come up onto the stage. There had been no need to take a hostage. Battler and Bito had been more than willing to accept this final duel if Bernkastel wished it. It was hard to make out anything from Bernkastel's silent expression. Fine. What's fine? I'll release Erika from the depths. I'm glad you decided to do this. For someone as proud as Bernkastel, forgiving the peace who had caused her defeat should have been nearly unbearable. Battler knew this, so he realized how much this bit of compassion had cost Bernkastel. Bernkastel snapped her fingers and a black cat slipped out of her shadow. I tossed her all the way into the deepest parts of oblivion. It might take her a while to get there, or to get here. It matters not. There's no danger of the food and drink running out. Go, kitty. Guide that kid here. When she gave this order, the cat melted into the darkness, its bell jingling. I can hardly believe you forgive Erika. I don't plan on forgiving her, so she's not my piece anymore. Anyone feel like picking her up? After all, you already picked up Leon and Will. Bernkastel, you have my thanks. Okay, enough with the sentimentality. I've already had as much as I can bear. Sure. Where will we have this game? As far as I care, we could have it here with all the noise or in the usual quiet spot. Lady Bernkastel has already shown she has the courage to stand before a great many people. There's no point in making her suffer any longer. Good point. Then let's go to the usual place. Any objections, Bern? None. Sorry, partygoers. We'll be heading out for a bit, but please continue to enjoy yourselves. Zephyr, Furfur, liven this place up. When Erika gets here, let's have everyone give her a warm welcome. Yes, Lady Lambda Delta. Your wish is our command. Now then, let us take her to the usual room, a fitting place for our battle of wits. When Battler snapped his fingers, space shattered. They were now in the smoking room of the witches, the place where witches had once debated, schemed, and reasoned all they could. Bernkastel had been invited there once again, and the final game would now begin. Do you have a game prepared? Of course. I worked hard on this game, and I'm pretty proud of it. So Bern will be the game master, and Battler and Bito will be the players. Will it be a normal game where Bern creates a murder tale and two players have to reconstruct it with human tricks? I'm interested to see what sort of scenario Lady Bernkastel develops. We'll explain things with the blue truth and you'll knock those down with the red truth. Are we okay with those rules? My game will be a simpler one. It's just a quiz of guessing the culprit. I don't feel like trading red and blue with you. Oh? What kind of game will that be? Would you mind letting me have a look at it first? Bernkastel held her palm upwards and a palely glowing fragment appeared there. Lambda Delta brushed it with her hand and shut her eyes. See? It's a simple game, isn't it? You're right. It's much more straightforward than the mind games these two played in the past. This isn't even a game about witches and humans anymore. That's right. This is a game about humans. What a surprise! The game Bern created to combat Bito's fantasy is a genuine mystery. Please explain. It's extremely simple. You'll watch the tale Bern has prepared for you. There are several rules to it, but if you follow them as you read it through, it'll lead you to a single truth. In other words, an answer. So it's an ordinary mystery novel? I see. In that case, there's no need for combat between red and blue truth. In Bito's games, the argument had been about whether the story was a mystery or not. However, Bernkastel's game was a mystery. There was no need to argue over that from the start. I've even cut out the motive and the tricks. There's only one question I'm asking you. Who done it? What a simple yet fitting game to conclude our fight. Yeah, no cheap tricks, just a stoically simple game. This is a genuine duel. As the observer, I'll say this. This game is made to be solvable. In other words, I guarantee it's a suitable setting for your duel. Bern, I know I keep on saying this, but are you really sure? Battler and Bito's relationship started because they both loved mystery. I agree it's a pretty tricky scenario, but I'm not sure it'll be enough to stop these two. If my best tale can't stop them, then what comes will come. The important thing is that Lady Bernkastel put everything she had into this game. You're right. Will that be enough to stump us? That's all the simple game is about. Thanks, Lambda. Thanks to you, we know that this duel will be a fair fight. You're welcome. I'm happy too. It'll be an honor to witness Bern fighting this precious fight. I am also honored to have you as an opponent. Same here. I underestimated you, and I did it without even stepping onto the battlefield with you. Just thinking about it makes me want to vomit. So let me fight. Indeed. Show us what you've got. If I win, I'll be able to look down on you for real this time. And if I lose, I'll surely be reminded of the emotion I know I've forgotten. Indeed. Bernkastel, whether you end up winning or losing, I promise you one thing. What's that? When this duel's over, we'll be friends. Huh. Enough of that, please. The sentimentality is killing me. Lambda clapped her hands. A pleasant sound rang out. Will you be the reader, Bern, or shall I do that? I don't need a reader. Huh? A reader, Miko, can use her own voice to embellish or distort the tale. Even if there was no cheap trickery in my game, by having a reader, any amount of trickery could be added. Yes, that is true. That's another of the Game Master's privileges. I want to have a straightforward duel with you, so I don't need a reader. You can read this tale with your own eyes and ears. Are you sure? That means you've lost almost all your advantages. Understood. You don't need a reader. We'll read the tale ourselves, and I guess Kiro will read it all for us. If there is no reader, does that mean there will be absolutely no falsehoods contained in the narrated text? We're ready, Bernkastel. A showdown over a genuine mystery without any cheap tricks. If you're gonna play fair and square, we'll challenge you head on too. Thank you. And I don't plan on losing either. No, no, no. That's no good, Lady Bern. Huh? She's right. If you're a witch challenging us with a mystery, you can't have an attitude like that. Yeah, it's all useless. Bernkastel, realizing what Battler and Bito were asking for, snorted. Lambda Delta nodded at her, telling her to enjoy this final duel to the fullest. What were you expecting? A happy mystery chat between humans and witches? Come on, don't make me laugh. Let's see if your cheery mysteries are any match for the one I've prepared. Let's see what you've got. We wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, we'll accept your challenge, Lady Bernkastel, Witch of Miracles. Alright, time to start. I, Game Master Ushimiya Battler, and Beatrice the Endless Witch will be your opponents. Don't start crying when we wipe the floor with you. Take this. Here's my mystery. Bernkastel took a fragment containing the game and smashed it against the table, shattering it with brilliant light as the game's scenario laid itself out. The curtain rose on the mystery Bernkastel had created. Okay, so here's the part where you guys need to pay attention if you want because this is actually created as a game for us. You are actually able to actually solve this mystery. So remember, the point of the mystery is you're trying to figure out who done it. No extra frills and tricks and blue truth and red truth. You just need to figure out who the culprit is. And it's posed as a mystery to us, so that at the end, we will have a chance to give our answer. No sound but that of the falling rain filled the room. It covered the tragic scene in the bloody dining hall. At some point, Ange had fainted and fallen to the floor. Now her consciousness was slowly returning, forcing her to remember what had happened in this room. So she reflexively averted her gaze even before the memory overtook her. 6 bodies lay in the blood-stained dining hall. Strangely enough, as her consciousness returned bit by bit, the terrifying scene before her seemed somehow less intense. This time Ange was able to look at the 6 corpses well enough to make out who they were. First, those are my own parents. Their pitiful sight, colored bright red by bloody makeup. And lying next to them are Uncle Hideyoshi and Aunt Ava. Uncle Hideyoshi, the uncle who always says funny things and makes me laugh. And Aunt Ava, the aunt who seems to be so fond of me. Genji-san, the servant, is lying over there. And the one lying here is Aunt Rosa. 6 people. A full 6 people had their lives taken from them, and are lying in this room. Maybe I cried myself out before I fell unconscious. The scene before me was still terribly painful, but I was somehow able to look at it without losing my head. I'd already felt all the sadness I could at my parents' deaths. The next emotion that rose up inside me was the desire to check and see that everyone else is okay. In that instant, I heard a scraping sound. Just as I was about to relax again, thinking I must have imagined it, I heard the same sound again. It was probably coming from the door. Someone was clawing at the door from the outside. Of course, I had no way of knowing who it was. However, for some reason, I was sure it was that black cat scratching at the door. The black cat was telling me to leave this room. I understood and put my hand on the doorknob. Huh? I immediately noticed something odd. The door was locked. The same bad feeling I'd felt after being locked in the parlor crawled up my spine. However, unlike the time in the parlor, this door unlocked itself easily when I turned the knob. I unlocked it and slowly opened the door. Beyond the door, I could see the dimly lit hallway and a cat dashing down it away from me. Then it stopped, its emerald eyes glittering in the darkness as though it was waiting for me to follow. The hallway was dark, and wrapped in an eerie silence. When the black cat saw I was coming, it walked forward as if guiding me. I could hear nothing except the creaking of the floor, the bell of the cat, and the sound of the storm outside. The party is being held in the hall. I should be able to hear at least a little of the noise from this hallway. Maybe it got really late when I was unconscious in the dining hall. It was a reasonable conclusion. Then we finally reached the main hall. The hall was frigid, and no trace of that party remained. Could all that fun have just been an illusion? The black cat's bell rang out. When I looked up, I saw it had its feet on the stairway to the 2nd floor, urging me to follow it. Are you going to the 2nd floor? The black cat seemed to nod, then silently went up the stairs. Guests were allowed to go wherever they wanted on the 1st floor, but the 2nd floor was Krause's family's house, and I remember getting in trouble for trying to go up there. However, at that moment, I couldn't think of any options other than following that cat. I walked along the dark hallway with the black cat. Eventually, we reached one of the doors. The black cat scratched at the door and then turned to look at me. It must have been telling me to open it. Okay, I'll open it for you. I put my hand on the doorknob and felt the resistance of a lock again. This door is locked. I turned around to tell the cat this, but inexplicably, a single key lay right in front of the cat. Ange picked it up and stuck it in the keyhole. As she did, she finally noticed something strange with her fingertips. Blood. Somehow Ange's fingertips have been stained red with blood. She let out a short cry, and the key slipped out and fell to the ground. Hey Ash, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for stopping by today. It's good to see you. She finally realized, in the darkness she hadn't noticed before, the Black Cat's key was covered with blood. The emotions that had gone numb in Ange sprang back. A terrified scream rang out through the dark hallway. Even so, Ange would eventually open that door. The door led to Natsui's room. Natsui's room was a terrible mess. Blankets and sheets were torn. Cosmetics and books lay all over the place as though a typhoon had just ripped through it. And there were corpses. Kraus and Natsui's corpses lay sprawled on the floor. Very shortly, Ange will step into this room. She will then scream in terror once more. And it isn't limited to the dining hall in Natsui's room. In the stormy rose garden, Shannon's tragic corpse lies exposed. Partway down the path to the rose garden is Jessica's corpse. When Ange finds that, she'll probably dash crying and screaming into the guest house. And death awaits her inside the guest house as well. Just inside the front door is Nanjo's corpse. In the servant room nearby, even Goda and Kumasawa lie dead. The total number of corpses is 13. A full 13 corpses are waiting for Ange. They wait in the mansion and the guest house on this desolate Rokonjima. For Ange exposed to the wind and rain and tormented by thunder to find them. Thank you for the chaos. Okay, so for those of you joining us, Bernkastel has posed a game to us. She's going to tell us a murder mystery story, and our job at the end is to figure out who the culprit is. So at the end of the story, we will actually have a chance to choose who we think the culprit is. Basically, think of it as a big riddle. So starting from now, pay attention, and we'll try to keep in mind who you think might be the culprit. This is kind of, think of it as like the final challenge of Umineko in terms of gameplay. We're going to take everything we learned so far and put it to the test. The tragedy of the first twilight was discovered at 6 o'clock in the morning on the following day. Goda, who had woken up to get breakfast ready, went to check on the adult siblings who had remained in the dining hall since the previous night because of the family conference. Tell us about when you discovered the crime. The dining hall was locked up. Of course, there is a lock on the doors to the dining hall, but they usually remain unlocked. I knocked, but there was no answer. So you'll notice here there's a new type of text showing up. So we've had red text, we've had blue text, we've even had golden text. Now we have purple text. For now, they're not going to tell us what the purple text means, but they will tell us. Just keep that in mind. These are important. That's when I arrived. I recommended that he try unlocking the door just in case. When I unlocked the door with a master key, a terrifying sight awaited me inside. Eva-sama, Hideyoshi-sama, Uro-sama, Kirie-sama, Rosa-sama, and Genji-san. 6 people in all were lying there covered in blood. A great tumult followed. Everyone gathered in the dining hall. I don't want to remember it. The sight of all the sobbing children crouched over the corpses of their own parents. There was a chance they might have still been alive still. Everyone was shaking them desperately. But it was no use. Each of the children confirmed the deaths of their own parents. Dr. Nanjo and I confirmed that Genji-sama was dead. Such a gruesome way to be killed. No one is going to mistakenly confirm a death, even those other than myself. It looks like all the victims died instantly. After inspecting the interior of the dining hall, we determined that all the doors and windows have been locked, making it a closed room. And nothing suspicious was found inside the dining hall. And of course, there was no one hiding in the dining hall either. Naturally, all of us are here right now. It's clear that no one is hiding. But Dad, if that's true, that doesn't make sense. 6 people were killed and the dining hall is a closed room. How could someone have killed them and escaped? I'd rather not think of it, but perhaps the servants with their master keys are the most suspicious. They killed the 6, then left and locked the door with their master keys. It's a logical theory. That's absurd. Since there was no chance of the culprit hiding inside the dining hall, it made sense to assume the culprit locked the door after committing the murder and exiting the room. It was only natural that the servants with their master keys would fall under suspicion. And sadly enough, none of the servants had an alibi. Then again, it wasn't only the servants. Everyone else lacked an alibi as well. Is there any way to lock up from the outside without a master key? No, there isn't. That's not enough. I'll say it with the red truth. All doors can only be locked or unlocked with a master key. Of course, it is possible to lock or unlock doors from inside the room even without a master key. There you have it. Any other questions? Shouldn't there be keys to each individual room in addition to the master keys? Normally, those would exist. However, they make the game more complicated, so I've eliminated them. Red truth. We'll consider master keys to be the only keys that exist. In other words, all the locks that appear in this game can only be locked or unlocked by master keys. That's what it means. It really is a simple game. In that case, we should now check the number of master keys and who holds them. There are 5 master keys total. 1 is held by each of the 5 servants. The keys will be managed in a special way. The servants keep master keys on their person at all times, so it is impossible for them to be stolen, handed over, or used by any human other than themselves. What the heck? Now they're sounding less like keys and more like a fingerprinting system. That's an interesting metaphor. In other words, in the world of this game, it isn't the master keys, but the 5 servants themselves that can lock or unlock doors. We tried to retrieve Genji-san's master key, but had no luck. To guard against trouble later on, we destroyed Genji's master key. This was the crime of the first Twilight. The scene was the locked closed room of the dining hall. None of the servants holding master keys have alibis. Then again, no one else has an alibi either. Everyone returned to the parlor to discuss what should be done next. The phones were out, so they couldn't contact the police. Was the mysterious culprit hiding away somewhere, planning to attack their next victim at this very moment? Or was the culprit in here with them, mentally sticking out their tongue and tasting their next prey? None of them had alibis, and any one of them could have been a culprit. However, that tense feeling didn't last long. By midday, everyone got tired of arguing and they decided to take a break. Kraus and Natsui announced they wanted to talk with each other alone, and went up to the second floor. That was the beginning, and after that, everyone went to their separate ways now and then, such as to head to the bathroom or gaze at the endless rain. However, no matter how much time passed, Kraus and Natsui were the only ones who didn't return. Calls were sent to both Kraus and Natsui's rooms using the extension phone line, but there was no answer. something might have happened. Everyone headed to Krause's and Natsui's rooms together, and in Natsui's room they found Krause and Natsui lying sprawled over the floor. Madam's room is locked. It's just like the dining hall. After getting everyone's permission, I unlocked the door. Krause-sama and Natsui-sama lay sprawled on the floor inside the room. Dr. Nanjo checked their pulse. Then he announced that the two of them had died instantly. Correct. I confirm both of their deaths. There can be no doubt that they died instantly. I searched all over the room looking for a clue. In the end, I found that the windows and doors had all been locked, making it a closed room. Another closed room? We servants all have master keys, so we'll be suspected again. But have no fear. After Madame began to suspect us, we started keeping an eye on each other. All of us servants were together the whole time. All of us servants can prove an alibi for all of the other servants. Now that's interesting. So you're saying that this closed room is even more complete. In the case of the first closed room, no one had an alibi. So for this closed room, all of them have alibis. In this world, the servants themselves become living master keys. Since those servants have perfect alibis, it was impossible to lock Natsui's room. We decided to preserve the crime scene as it was. We put packing tape all over the outside of the doors and windows, sealing them. I'm sure the culprit left some sort of clue in this room. We made sure no one would be able to enter or leave until the police arrived. Then we did the same to the dining hall. We also sealed the dining hall in the same way. We reached the conclusion that the entire mansion itself should be preserved. We also sealed the mansion itself, and all of us took refuge in the guest house. They sealed the whole mansion. Packing tape on all the windows? They even used a ladder for the windows on the 3rd floor? The game would get complicated otherwise, so I simplified it. All the windows had steel bars on them, so it's impossible to enter or leave by them. Therefore, we'll say that they can seal the whole mansion by sealing the 2 doors, the front one and the back one. Got it. That makes it easy. What do you think? Actually, killing the 2 people in Natsui's room would be easy. Someone just had to knock and get them to open the door. However, they couldn't lock it afterwards. Only the servants can lock doors, but all the servants have alibis. Unless the servants are all in it together. More importantly, the first Twilight has me suspicious. You think that one of the 6 who died in the dining hall was actually alive and committed the crime? It's because of Erica. I can't help but be suspicious when people are examining corpses. So you think that one of the first 6 victims was alive? Yeah. And afterwards they killed Krause and Natsui. Then they locked the door from the inside, hid inside the room and found a good chance to escape. That theory does make logical sense. I'll say it in red. The culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people. Then I'll take a shot with the blue truth. Here's the true nature of this closed room. The culprit locked the door from the inside, then hid in Natsui's room. Then after everyone left, they found an opportunity to escape. Sure, I'll deny that in red. The group sealed the room at the same time they left. No culprit joined the group as they left. Also, all the seals on Natsui's room, the dining hall, and the mansion itself will not be broken. In other words, you can't use that trick where they hide under the bed and slip out later. Interesting. Nice going, Bernkastel. Thanks. This was the crime of the second Twilight. The scene was Natsui's room, a locked closed room. This time all the servants with master keys have alibis. The whole group, realizing the dangers of being inside the mansion, took shelter in the guest house. The fourth Twilight. All those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if anyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes both from inside and outside. However, they wouldn't be able to keep it up without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left a weak point open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy. Shannon and Cannon-kun went outside on an errand and still haven't come back. George Nissan got upset, so we all went outside to look for them. We found Shannon-chan lying there in the rose garden. Oh, poor Shannon-chan. I prayed she was still alive. However, I was forced to acknowledge that she was dead. And of course, I also examined her and confirmed her death. When the two of them left, we were busy checking the locks around the guest house, so not one of us has an alibi. Me? Kill her? How could I have killed her? That's right. George Oni-chan couldn't kill her. Later on, we learned that George Nissan alone had an alibi. At the very least, George Nissan couldn't possibly have killed Shannon. To turn it around, anyone other than George Aniki could have killed her. To prevent the culprit from using it for any mischief, we destroyed the master key Shannon-san had on the spot. At the time Shannon is killed, Cannon goes missing forever. From now on, Cannon is treated as being killed. Also, Cannon's master key is treated as being destroyed. Well, I thought it'd be rude, so I kept quiet about it, but that's what happens when Shannon dies. In other words, we can interpret this as Shannon and Cannon being killed at the same time, even though we're missing a corpse. That's right. Huh. Looks like the crimes are moving along. This was the crime of the fourth twilight. The scene was a rose garden. There were no locks or doors. It wasn't a closed room, so the master keys were no longer a factor. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. The fifth twilight and the sixth twilight. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all doors and windows, locking themselves in a closed room. However, several closed room murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in a closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? After arguing fiercely in the cousin room about finding the culprit, they decided they should double-check Nanjo, Kumasawa, and Goda's testimony. And there they learned that a tragedy had occurred once more. In both Goda-san and Kumasawa-san's cases, such wounds would have resulted in instant deaths, I believe. Such a gruesome way to die. Like hell they could survive with wounds like this. Goda-san and Kumasawa-san are both dead. Well, we have been busy keeping a lookout and locking up and all that. Once again, none of us has an alibi. That's not true. Look, if they were killed in that way, the culprit would definitely have gotten blood spatter on themselves. But Dr. Nanjo and all the cousins have no blood spatter on them. All of us, in other words, the four cousins and Dr. Nanjo couldn't have killed Goda-san or Kumasawa-san. In that case, it's clear the culprit is someone other than us. I guess that someone might have snuck in, so I checked around, but the guest house was still completely locked up. Perhaps the culprit had a master key after all. That's impossible. No master keys exist anymore except the two keys on the two people who lie dead here. Since the two master keys that exist are here inside the guest house, that makes this guest house a perfectly closed room. Well, since someone's dead, it obviously wasn't perfect. This was the crime of the fifth and sixth twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Goda's and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. Now, no one could break into the closed room guest house. At least, that should have been the case. The seventh twilight. This time, Dr. Nanjo was killed. He died in the entrance hall of the guest house. It was far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked. He's dead! He's been killed! Even I can say for sure this was an instant death. Everything is locked up perfectly. How did it happen if this is a closed room? That means the culprit is one of us. Impossible. Judging by the circumstances, Maria, Badler, George, Nissan, and I couldn't have killed Dr. Nanjo. In the first place, no one could kill Dr. Nanjo inside the guest house. And look at this. Simply put, this is proof that Dr. Nanjo didn't leave the guest house. That means no one could kill Dr. Nanjo, right? So how was he killed? No one could answer that innocent question. This was the 7th twilight. Once again, the crime scene was a closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime seem even more impossible. Then the tragedy reached the 8th twilight, the final one. The 8th twilight. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that surely hid somewhere outside. George, Badler, and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Then outside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground. It was, as anyone could tell at a glance, a gruesome corpse. Poor Jessica-chan. She probably died instantly. There's no way anyone can live through this. The three of us were together the whole time. George, Aniki, Maria, and I couldn't have killed Jessica. Yeah, the three of us couldn't have killed Jessica. As if Maria-chan could kill someone. Maria-chan couldn't kill anyone. Thanks. George Oni-chan couldn't kill an adult. He could kill a kid, though. I don't understand it at all. What the hell is going on here? This was the 8th twilight. The crime scene was outside. However, the three who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Badler, and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So, is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ushimian family? The curtain is lowered on this tale for now. That's all for my tale. It's pretty well made. If you had a full-on reader, it'd stand up well against Bito's games. I agree there. You did a good job. Well then, the real work comes from taking this, reading it, and making it worthy of proper theater going. Still, I'm stumped. On the face of it, the culprit has to be some mysterious person outside the Ushimiya family. And that would be the same as acknowledging the existence of a witch. We can also suspect the existence of some accomplices aiding the culprit. By the way, what was that purple text all about? A new rule? I call them purple statements. It's a rule I made to make the story a bit easier to follow. Just think of the purple statements as important spoken statements. In other words, you might be able to ignore the spoken statements that aren't purple. Oh, well that's nice of you. Then are the purple statements as reliable as red truth? Yes. You can think of the purple statements as having the same power as red truth. However, there's one exception. A culprit can tell lies with purple statements. I see. To turn around, anyone who isn't a culprit can't tell lies. Purple statements. These seem to be the key to Lady Bernkastel's game. Yeah, that's right. I'll explain the rules. The definition of culprit is one who murders. It is possible for a culprit to lie. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing a murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with the culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. A culprit must not die. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. That's all. The definition of culprit is one who murders. Makes sense. It is possible for a culprit to lie. That seems reasonable enough too. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Well, no surprises there. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. How convenient. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit, right? So the culprit can't make accomplices tell lies to match their version of the events. Damn. My guess was that someone manufactured an alibi to cover for the culprit, but... too bad. A culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands. In other words, there are no remote or indirect methods of murder like traps. A culprit must not die. In other words, they can't commit murder, form a closed room, then commit suicide inside it. Doesn't that also mean the dead people can't be culprits? That's a simple yet vital piece of information. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. So this isn't about some mysterious stranger who snuck onto the island. The appearing characters are the same old 17 people after Kinzo is removed. No one else appears in the story, so no one else matters. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements. Now here's a troublesome one. It might be the heart of this game. Does that cover all this game's basic rules? Besides that, I guess there's only the reader will tell no lies. In other words, outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in the narration. I could have added that stuff if I wanted, but it'd be a pain and make things complicated. So you willingly abandon a witch's privileges. You seem quite confident. She probably plans to win despite that. That's all from me. I don't intend to give you any more hints or answer any more questions. As the observer, I'll proclaim this once again. I guarantee that it's possible to pinpoint the culprit with this information. Okay, got it. I can't wait to get started. I can't believe the two of us are going to take on the same mystery together once more. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is, if you really intend to fight me. If you do get completely stuck, maybe you should listen in on Battler and Bito's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get absolutely stumped and can't move forward. Still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one. If you plan to enjoy our little duel, then try defeating me by your own power alone without relying on hints. So you can probably tell here, Bernkastel's actually talking to you, the player here. She wants you to solve the mystery yourself. Okay, let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Enjoy this game that I've created just for you. Okay, so this is how it works. You can read it all again. You can show the rules. You can check the purple statements. Or you can look at hints. Once you think you have an answer, you can go to Culprit Select and pick who you think the culprit is. So here are all the characters, and you can pick who you think the culprit is. If you get it wrong, Bernkastel just tells you that you're wrong, and it brings you back. So, it's probably... I mean, obviously you could just keep on clicking through everyone until you get it. But the point is, you kind of want to do it for fun, right? So, clicking on the culprit and getting it wrong, Bernkastel just goes wrong and then sends you back. So don't go guessing willy-nilly. Now the other thing is, the hints are like extra help. So basically, if you click on the hints, kind of like how we had hints with the riddles from Aunt Ava, you can get hints from Battler and Bito. There are... How many hints are there, actually? Let me check. There are 20 hints. So you can start with like 1 or 2 hints, but then if you keep getting stuck, you can keep going and going and going until you think you figured it out. For convenience, we can check the rules, and we can also have all the purple statements collated together in one document. Makes it easier to read. And there we have it, Bernkastel's game. One last challenge to Umineko the players. I think this is a really clever way of doing it, because obviously a battle of red and blue truth doesn't really work with us. So having it just be very simple, pick the culprit, makes it easy to follow, and then having the purple statements collated so you don't have to read through everything again, without all the bloated extra exposition, makes it very easy to go over and fun to play. In fact, they actually published a manga based on this type of game, where it's an Umineko manga that tells the story of a murder mystery. It uses purple statements, and you're supposed to figure out who the culprit is at the end. And it's different than this scenario. It's not this scenario. That one is called Umineko no Naku Koro ni Murasaki, Forgery of the Purple Logic. Now, because manga is not printed in color, their purple text is actually just like, in the English version, it's like bubble letters. Interestingly enough, for that manga, Forgery of the Purple Logic, they actually encouraged people to solve the mystery for themselves, and in the manga there was actually like a slip that you could rip out, write your answer, and then mail it to them. And then they were going to take all the winning entries and do like a raffle for a prize. However, according to the Wikipedia page, they never actually released the answer, and they never released the winners. So some people thought it was like a scam, and it just kind of got dropped altogether. So there's no official answer to it, but I'm sure there's online stuff if you find it, of people giving their answers and what they mean. I just thought that was kind of interesting, even though we probably won't ever have a chance to read that manga. So let's look over the rules and the purple statements again, and then I'll go over the hints, but I'll talk a little bit before we do that. So the rules, we just read this. A culprit is defined as one who murders. It is possible for a culprit to lie. It is possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. A culprit must carry out all murders directly, by their own hands. A culprit must not die. A culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths. However, a culprit, and only a culprit, may lie with the purple statements. Outside of spoken statements, there are no lies in the narration. And how do I go back? Oh, there we go. Can I save here too? I think I... Yeah, I can't even save on the screen, but I think I can save if I, like, read the hints. Let's look at the purple statements. So this is interesting. You can sort purple statements by character or by chapter. So here is the beginning of the game. These are the 6 people that are dead at the beginning. You can click on characters, and they'll have their purple text sorted by when they were said. So Jessica's a little bit more. Actually, I'll hide my Vtuber model so you can actually read this. I can't select Ava or Hideyoshi. Okay, I can't select Rudolph and Kyrie, so we'll go to Battler. Here's Nanjo. I can't select Rosa. Here's Maria. We can skip Genji, we'll go straight to Shannon. Cannon. Here's Goda. And then Kumasawa. So now I can also check purple by Twilight. Okay, here, I guess I'll need to hide myself again for this. Okay, so first Twilight, 6 corpses. And I'm not reading these out loud because I'm intending for people to go back and probably pause the video and look at these. Checking the corpses. Closed room crime scene. Genji's master key. And then regarding master keys. Second Twilight. Natsu in Krause's room. Checking corpses and locks. Alibis for the servants. Genji's Master Key. Layout of the mansion. Culprit of the first Twilight. Seals on the room. Fourth Twilight. Keep in mind the reason why there isn't a third Twilight is because of the way the epitaph goes. Remember, one of them is separate the two that are close and then kill them, so that's why the fact that the third one's missing doesn't mean anything. FYI. Shannon and Cannon vanish. Alibis. Shannon's Master Key. Cannon and the Master Key. This is the fifth and sixth Twilight. Two corpses. Alibis. Preserving the crime scene. Hey Meteorite, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everyone. No, I'm not away. I'm hiding myself because we need to read some very important text. So we need to make sure that I don't cover any of it. We're trying to solve a mystery. Let's write you a shout out. Guys, please go check out Meteorite when you get a chance. Very cool streamer, chill person. Very, very kind friend of mine. Please go check him out. Thank you so much for coming by. Did you have a good stream? What were you playing? I'm Kiro, the frog-themed martial artist. We're reading through Umineko, which is a visual novel murder mystery, and we've compiled all the clues, and now we're trying to solve it. Oh, you did the Rising event in Final Fantasy XIV and some Red Dead Redemption. That sounds like fun. I hope you had a good time. Feel free to sit back and relax or go and take care of yourself after your long stream. I really appreciate you sharing your audience with me. Thank you, thank you. Let's look at the clues for the 7th Twilight. Nanjo's corpse. And then is one of the four the culprit? Yeah, the soundtrack's really good. I think they picked a good track to go with this part. Okay, and then finally the 8th Twilight. Jessica's corpse. And then who killed her? Guess I'll hide myself to get that tail end of Maria's. So if you want, actually, let me double check this just so that. So if you want, on the Umineko wiki page, there's a page called Bernkastel's game, and it actually collates all the rules, the general scenario, and then all the purple statements together for you to peruse if you don't want to go back through the VOD or the video. At the very bottom, there's the hints, but they're given in spoiler text, so they won't appear unless you hover your mouse over them. So if you don't want spoilers or hints, then don't scroll to the very bottom of the page. So again, here's our culprit select. Now, I'm actually going to be extra cruel to you guys, and we are not going to be going over the culprit today. So that means that people have a chance to go home and think, maybe think about it as a little bit of homework, trying to figure out who this is. But for the rest of the stream, I'm going to read over the hints. So if you do not want hints, if you think you can solve this on your own, if you don't want any hints, I know it's weird for me to be discouraging people from watching this stream, but if you don't want the hints, then this is where you should stop watching the stream. But I will do the hints because it's dialogue, so I think it's worth reading. And then that way we can, next time, start stream. So Wednesday I'll be doing more Final Fantasy 16, and then Thursday we'll pick up Umineko again. Then we'll go over the answer. So if you want a little bit of homework, here you go. Does that make sense? Yeah? I think it's pretty fun to figure out without the hints, and then just use the hints as you go. But, you know, this is not everyone's cup of tea, and I respect that, but, you know, we've read through like 135 hours of stuff, so this is kind of the payoff for you to like put all your skills to the test.